What's up guys, Speci here. I'm going to build the best Nilfgaard deck for the current meta. It's a tier 1 deck right up there I believe with Syndicate. The TLG meta report might say slightly otherwise, but I think it's definitely top 2. Imprisonment is going to be the leaderability of choice, and the reason for Imprisonment is for the combo I like to call the Payable Special. The Payable Special is using a leader charge from Imprisonment in combination with Coup de Grace. You can get a ridiculous point swing with this. You shut down your opponent's engines with a lock and a coup, killing it, and you develop your own. This is particularly fantastic in Nilfgaard mirrors, where you can use a leader charge to answer your opponent's Brathens, their Assimilate engine, and play your own Brathens, proccing your Assimilate. Also, against Skellige Devotion, you can use this on Harold the Cripple in round 1. You're going to use a Duchess's Informant on a warrior to develop your graveyard, and then in round 3 you use a leader charge and coup to answer your opponent's Harold while playing your own. It's a completely ridiculous combo, plays for an incredible amount of points, and it's not only just 9 provisions, but it's also an echo card, so you get access to this card twice. 15 out of the 16 players in the top 16 qualifiers this past weekend played Imprisonment Nilfgaard as one of their decks. One other player played Imposter. So everyone brought Nilfgaard, and 15 out of 16 played Imprisonment. And a big reason why is the Payable Special, the leader charge plus the coup combo is completely broken. It's nuts. Okay, so why is Nilfgaard suddenly tier 1? Why is it right up there? Last season it wasn't really that popular. We know Freddy Babes obviously did well with it at Masters, but why suddenly is it great? Well, it's quite simple. It's not Rience, it's Dead Man's Tongue, it's the Blightmaker and the Mage Assassin. Blightmaker and Mage Assassin, the most broken combo of bronze cards we've seen in Gwent in a very, very long time indeed. Absolutely auto-include. You're going to be using the Blightmakers to thin your Mage Assassins from your deck, and it's going to play for 11 points for an average cost of 5 provisions, which is thinning your deck by 1. It is completely ridiculous. Still very surprised it was printed, being so powerful. If you can draw your Blightmakers in round 1, not only are you playing bronze cards for gold card power, you're also thinning your deck and improving the odds on you drawing cards like Masquerade Ball and things like that. Dead Man's Tongue is also a fantastic card. We can use it to thin 2 4 provision bronze cards from the deck, which is obviously going to again improve the consistency of the deck. You can also use this on a gold card in round 3. Let's say you don't draw your Masquerade Ball, you can play Dead Man's Tongue for a 15-point play. If you miss your Usurper, it can be a 12-point play as well. Now, something to bear in mind with Dead Man's Tongue, at the time of recording this video, it is currently bugged. Dead Man's Tongue is going to show you the deck in order that you're going to draw it in, working in a similar way to Maxi. It is a bug, not intentional. CDPR have acknowledged it though, so professional players are aware of this and will be using it to their advantage. It is fair game, so yeah, just make sure you look out for that. Of course, we're going to be playing Masquerade Ball. Fantastic card at 15 provisions. Even though you can't use the disloyal aristocrats such as Joachim and Roderick, we're going to be using those as well. Just great cards, and this just shows Ball was correct to be nerfed. In combination with Coup de Grace, these offer you great consistency, especially when you're considering the thinning you've got with Blightmakers and Dead Man's Tongue, just improving the odds even further that Joachim's going to be helping you to find those gold cards. Having a quick look at the Aristocrats on offer, we're of course going to need to play quite a few of these in order to trigger our Masquerade Ball, especially, again, important to remember Joachim, Roderick don't work, so we need to make sure we have enough where if we draw Masquerade Ball, we're not short on Aristocrats, so we don't want to be too greedy, we want to play a decent amount. So let's just look through the Aristocrats, pick the best ones, starting off with Usurper, of course only an Aristocrat in a Devotion round 3. We are playing Devotion, therefore, to get the Aristocrat tag for Usurper. We're also going to be playing Vincent, another solid Aristocrat indeed. Fergus is the next card, which finds a place in this deck. While he doesn't have the best points on his own, the Aristocrat tag is worth a lot, and he's got some really nice synergy with the Thirsty Dame that is played from Masquerade Ball, as well as the Seditious Aristocrats, and as well you can use him to line up a Coup de Grace on any of your opponent's card. You give it the Spying status, and then Coup de Grace doesn't need the Death Blow in order to play a version of that card. Anna is a real consideration. We saw Freddy Babes have great success with Anna Henrietta in his Masters deck. However, it's a little bit less useful this patch just because of the popularity of Pincer Maneuver. You're not going to be getting too much value off of Anna Henrietta. Added to that, there's some Line Pockets decks as well where she's not really going to be playing for many points. However, she's definitely a great consideration. It's really just the Pincer Maneuver matchup that makes her not quite as good as she was last month. Last month, lots of Northern Realms players were playing Uprising, and Anna Henrietta was fantastic against Uprising. Pincer Maneuver, she's a 4-point leader ability, so she's going to be 7 points. Really not what you're looking for a gold card. So we're going to try and avoid using her, but she's absolutely a key consideration in this deck. I'm a bit of a believer in the double hunter, the 4 provision lock. Just a solid aristocrat. It's going to be triggering your masquerade ball and also playing for decent, while slow, value in round 1. Of course, you've got the option to bleed in the front row as well if a lock is not going to be doing much. So I'm just going to play the single seditious aristocrat. We think we can get away with it. We don't want to play too few aristocrats where we don't have enough to proc our ball. We don't want to play too many, because realistically a lot of these cards wouldn't be played outside of a masquerade ball deck. We're really paying a little bit for the aristocrat tag, so definitely worth bearing in mind. You might want to again consider playing a couple of these. Thirsty Dames aren't terrible, and I think Anna is the other key aristocrat you might want to consider playing as well if you're having a little bit of trouble managing your hand, not having enough aristocrats. Definitely might want to just consider playing another one of these, maybe throwing Anna in there as well. But for me, this is the ultimate power. We're not going too few, but we've got enough. Seems good. Let's look at the other staple cards in Nilfgaard, starting off with Invo. We're also going to be playing Brathans as well, and if we're playing Brathans, it means we need to play a single Informant and a single Emissary. We could decide to play a couple of these cards, but for the moment we're just going to put one on of each. Brathans, just fantastic value, particularly when you play an Informant with him. Mentioned before as well some synergy it has with Coup de Grace in setting up your graveyard against Skellige, where you can play your opponent's Herald with a Coup de Grace. Just all sorts of utility functions with Brathans. Moreover, just a great value card and an engine with the Assimilate. Speaking of an Assimilate engine, another Assimilate engine that's going to be an auto-include in Nilfgaard decks is Cupbearer with a couple of fangs. Of course, working well with our Masquerade Ball, the Poison synergy, but Cupbearer really coming into his own with the fact that he has the Assimilate tag. He's an engine as well as a Purify and a Poison. An incredibly flexible card when combined with things like Brathans and Coup de Grace. Just a great card that must be included in any good Masquerade Ball Nilfgaard deck. For provisions, I'm a big believer in the Nausicaa Sergeants. Great card. You're able to boost this multiple times when playing cards like Joachim and Brathans. It just turns into a fantastic engine for 4 provisions. It's proactive as well. You can't really go wrong. I think it's kind of silly not to be playing 2 of each of the Fangs and the Nausicaas. Just great cards for 4 provisions. That leaves us with 8 provisions. Now, this is sort of the weird range in Nilfgaard at the moment, where there isn't really a standout card and you've got a few options. For example, one thing we touched on already is you might want to go for Anna Henrietta. You would ditch probably this Seditious Aristocrat, make it maybe a second Emissary or something different in at 4 provisions, maybe a tech card of your choice. Remember, it's going to have to be a Nilfgaardian card, not something like a Squirrel, because we do want that devotion. So that's one option. Anna, as explained, don't like her into the pincer maneuver matchup, so we're going to try and avoid that if we can. And we'll also, another card to consider is the newly buffed Fringilla Vigo. She is going to be damaging an enemy unit by 2, which is just 6 points, but then you increase the number of targets by 1 for each adjacent mage or construct. So if you have 1 mage, you put Fringilla adjacent to that, she's going to be damaging 2 units by 2. And if you've got 2 mages or a mage and a construct, which the Blight Maker can give you access to very well because it's a mage itself, it spawns a mage from the mage assassin, and it also spawns a construct. Then this is going to be playing for, you're going to damage 3 cards by 2, 10 points for 7. So saw a few people, I know Aluha in the top 16 this weekend played Fringilla. Obviously then you would get an extra 5 provision card and you would upgrade one of these 4s, which honestly, I don't really want to upgrade any of these 4s. So we're taking the same card that Payabol took, which is Bribery. Now you might be wondering why on earth Bribery when Vigo exists. Well, as great as Vigo is, in this particular deck, there's so many different cards due to the bronze aristocrats. The create on Vigo really just isn't looking that great, with Blight Makers as well being included instead of things like Hunting Pack. Really just lowers the consistency and the power potential on Vigo, because you could be hit with a Mage Assassin, a Hunter, and a Blight Maker or a Seditious Aristocrat. So Vigo not quite as popular in these decks due to needing to include both the Hunters and the Seditious Aristocrats. Added to that, we've seen people go for the Location and Cantarella, still quite popular, but again, Cantarella just a little bit lackluster. So why Bribery? Well, it's a high roll card. If you high roll your opponent's Brathans, it's playing for an incredible amount of points. Against something like Northern Realms, you've got fantastic opportunities to maybe play a Gerhardt, for example, which is going to trigger your Assimilate twice. And remember, we do have a Cupbearer, we do have a Brathans, not a whole host of Assimilate without the Vigo, but still a solid amount. Yeah, it's a high roll card that can win you games on the spot. Okay, it can low roll, but As I mentioned, the 8 provision slot for Nilfgaard, Anna, Vigo, Fringilla Vigo, this Vigo, bribery. For me, it's bribery. Just believe in the high roll, have a little bit of fun while you're at it, make your opponents a little bit mad, just doing Nilfgaard things. Definitely the slot that you might want to play around with most, but I think bribery just about edges it. We're also going to want to play the Magic Lamp as our stratagem. You might want to consider playing a Crystal Skull or a Tactical Advantage to boost up something like your Nausicaa Sergeant. The issue with that is you just end up going really unnecessarily tall in round 1, and while you might protect your engine, you ultimately play into tool punish things like Geralt of Rivia, Heat Waves, you know, the sorts of things. So rather than just going very tall on your Nausicaa Sergeant, giving yourself a Magic Lamp is just a nice option, which also gives you a little bit of an extra proactive option. Let's say it goes really badly and you miss your Sergeants in round 1. You don't want to play your Blight Maker onto your Mage Assassin because you lose out on the 2 damage. You gain the luxury of being able to flip the Magic Lamp and play the Emissary. So while that's not the best opening play, it's certainly better than wasting points. So Magic Lamp is the stratagem of choice. So yeah, there's the deck. Again, I think the main considerations, if you wanted to tweak it a little bit, is improve this bribery to Anna Henrietta and downgrade this seditious aristocrat to a 4 provision Nilfgaard card. Your main options are going to be a 2nd emissary. I doubt you want to play a mage infiltrator, even more useless than it once was with the fact that lava, it doesn't kill lavas like it used to. You could also consider going for like a single master of disguise. A courier as well can be a cheeky option to guarantee what you're pulling with Joachim, but really synergizes more when you're playing the Cantarella and the location package. And that is also the other setup you might want to go for. You might want to still play the Cantarella, the location. The problem with that is you're going to have to sacrifice one of your high-end gold cards, most likely your Vincent, which is one of the few very solid aristocrat cards, and it's working very well in the current meta. It's great against Syndicate, it's great against monster decks, it's pretty good against Northern Realms as well when they play a Dahlia onto Ballistas and things like that. They play Shani onto a doomed Bannard student maybe. So Vincent just seems very good, obviously against Keltalis as well, it answers Defender. So yeah, this is the setup for me, and let's play some games with it. I do believe, just to confirm, this is the exact same list that Payable brought to the top 16 qualifier this weekend. A lot of the guys in TLG worked on this deck, and it was kind of the conclusion we came to that this was the strongest Nilfgaard deck for this season. I did watch some YouTube videos though on standing desks.
Patience is not a virtue I am known to have.
Thanks, man. I'm still gonna get a better camera, but honestly, the camera looks better with the green screen somehow, which is kind of sick. Alright, and I think Gwent like lends itself quite nicely to a green screen. Honestly, suits it. Yeah, we're up against a Nilfgaardian opponent. In round 1, mulligan your Masquerade Ball. The worst thing you can do is end up with an unplayable hand. I am just going to draw this Masquerade Ball later on. I'm far from an expert with Masquerade Ball decks, I must confess, but I've watched them enough times to know that this is probably the line here. Blightmaker is a great card. We don't want to hit a Mage Assassin. We have a couple of poisons. I'm going to honestly just mulligan the Hunter, I think. Try and save my Aristocrats for later. We find another one. It's all good. I still need to work out my sound settings and get the mix perfect, because I haven't got that quite yet, but still. Okay, our opponent leading off with the Nausicaa Sergeant, and this is exactly what I talked about, this TA. Look how tall they're going, guys. I can just poison this in a little bit and we're absolutely laughing. This is why I would highly recommend you do not play the Tactical Advantage, you go for the Magic Lamp. We're just going to mirror our opponent's play. And we go Fangs plus Fangs, and we're laughing. Often in your round 1 hand, if you're going second, you don't really want to have 2 Sergeants. It wouldn't be too bad if you're going first, so honestly, rather than this Hunter that I mulligan, probably could have considered mulliganing the Sergeant. We want to try and apply pressure to win on even, so we're going to slam the Fangs of the Empire here. If each one, they play for 8, but they actually play, well, they play for 10, plus the poison, could be enough to threaten to win on even. We could, of course, go for the second Sergeant, but just going to go for the poisons here, I think.
Can be hazardous to your health.
Where's the TLG banner? Ah, it looks rubbish. I actually spoke to Max about it, who made it, and he also agreed it doesn't actually look that good. I've decided to sack it off.
Impressive.
Especially with the green screen, right? Okay, my opponent amnesties my Nausicaa. That's quite a good play. I respect it. So my Fangs here is going to be playing for 14 points, which isn't going to get me ahead. So I'm just going to slow down for a minute, play my Nausicaa. Can just go into a long round if they fancy. They've played Amnesty. They've played a Blightmaker. I feel like I've just got more juice for this round 3. If they want to just go straight into the longer round. In comes a Hunter.
Few poachers dare venture into the Van Morloham's wood.
I'm going to take this poison. 6 points behind, which of course a Blightmaker can do more than enough. But I'm also just trying to turn my stream into... I'm trying to like structure... A lot of the time I'll use games from my stream on YouTube, but I'm trying to make it more structured content, if that makes sense. Just put a little bit of extra effort in to make it more structured, innit? I watched the Ludwig video. Basically, how to be a better Twitch streamer, and all the key things were YouTube. Be better at Twitch by making YouTube content was essentially what I gained from it. Deadman's Tongue coming in, boosting by 9. So a 5 and a 4. I'm just going to go for the Blightmaker here. We could consider passing, but our opponents use Deadman's Tongue. They know the order of their deck. We could also just go for Lock here, I suppose.
The hounds have caught a scent.
If we go for the Lock, and then we go for a Blightmaker, as long as we dodge the arm, we've got 14 points, which isn't going to be enough, actually. So the Lock's too slow. But we could go for a Bleed. We could also go for a Bleed on the Blightmaker to set up a coup on the Blightmaker. Let's do that. Because that is certainly going to be enough reach. So this is another use of the Hunters setting up the coup de grace. Again, just in my opinion, too good for 4 provisions with the Aristocrat tag not to be using this card. And yeah, we can play the Blightmaker here, which is going to play for 12 points, which will take it. Could hit the armor, which would be 11, but it's still going to be enough. If we go for the coup, it makes our draws slightly worse. So I'm just going to play the Blightmaker from hand here. And it's going to be enough even if we hit the armor. It wasn't going to be enough if we hit the armor. I'm trolling, guys. This is a troll play. What am I doing? Maths is hard. I was supposed to coup, but we get away with it. This was terrible. This was a terrible play. Now the Nilfgaard mirror is a disaster in a long round. It becomes a real clown fiesta. So there is some merit in attempting to bleed this mirror matchup. However, I don't have Aristocrats. So trying to, yeah, I mean, it's kind of my decision's been made for me. Trying to bleed without Aristocrats sounds pretty terrible. So I'm just gonna pass it, just go for the long round. We could try some sort of soft bleed, but ultimately we're just gonna be sort of letting ourselves down. Yeah, and this is like the big difference, I suppose, between Masquerade Ball in days gone by. I had the Joachim, I had coup. I would have just been able to slam the ball here and go for it, right? The Nilfgaard mirror, not a great way to start this video, to be completely honest, because it is a clown fiesta. But we've drawn the cards, that's for sure. We'll ditch the Mage Assassin. The Emissary is a really good card in this matchup because both players' boards are going to be clogged. There's honestly an argument to ditch the Mage Assassin because it puts so many bodies on the board. The problem with ditching the Mage Assassin is it just means that it's even more likely my Joachim hits, or it gives a chance for my Joachim to hit the wrong thing. Now, I just don't have the Aristocrats. I only have one at the moment. However, my opponent's going to be playing their own Masquerade Ball. I don't actually need this other Aristocrat. So, looking at my deck, I'm looking for the Vincent. I want the Deadman's Tongue. I'm going to take a risky mulligan here. I'm going to keep it. Solid. Deadman's Tongue would have been a really great card here, but I can hopefully find it off Rodders. Wait, I can't even find Rodders. What am I doing? I should have taken a mulligan. Yeah, I'm pretty inexperienced with Nilfgaard still. Not perfect gameplay for sure. Masquerade Ball Nilfgaard is something I try and avoid like the plague. But here I am. I'll do anything for the content, mate. As soon as I've got no interest in playing Masquerade Ball, as soon as there's an opportunity for some content, I'm all ears.
A superb specimen, true.
We're going to mirror our opponent's play here.
Ah, a taste of...
We've got the option to go for a leader charge. I think it's worth it. Dames go for a lot of points. Remember, we're going to be looking for the payable special with the coup in combination with the leader charge on Brathens. And of course, Brathens gives us this second Aristocrat guaranteed onto the Thirsty Dame here as well. In the mirror without final say, is it better to go with the Envo Ball? Not sure. Now, our opponent shouldn't click the Usurper. That's a grave error. The Nilfgaard mirror is, as I've mentioned before, a fiesta. You want to be clogging your opponent's side of the board. Now, I don't really have a fantastic option here, as I don't have a good poison target, right? Which is probably why this leader charge was just an actual clown player. There was no reason for me to lock this Dame, because I could just poison it, right? Whereas locking it, bad idea. So this is a misplay. But again, we're learning as we go. Honestly, Blightmaker into a Rot Tosser could just be the motive, I suppose, as well.
Your name, young man, demands to be cursed into an
My
urge.
duty? To stick my nose where it doesn't belong.
That's not ideal, poisoning a Usurper, but I roped out. Having a bit of a stinker, really, with my plays, but I think we're still in a good spot with the fact that our opponents clicked the Usurper. I don't think it's going to matter too much. It's not really the game I would have been liking to start the video off with, but hi-ho.
Impressive.
Our opponents, you know, laughing at us. They think it's hilarious, but little do they know we're just going to clog their board. They go for the lock on the Dame, not going for the lock on Brathens here. Of course, it's out of coup range with the play we made copying the Seditious. and a Henrietta coming in. Pretty good. Pretty good, but Bribery has the potential of being a lot better, that's for sure. Again, this lock, basically the biggest misplay, just making my sequencing rather awkward. The reason I don't want to go for a Blightmaker is I'm just worried that I'm going to clog my side of the board too much, which I'd like to avoid doing, if I'm honest.
A shame I have no time. Please wait, Your Excellency. I'm falling behind.
I'm going to take this emissary here. Yeah, we could queue the Anna. I think we're more likely to want to queue the Brathens though still. Definitely need to be careful with our Usurper. So often what you want to do, you want to, when you're playing your Aristocrats, just float the poisons and don't finish any off. This is going to be our leader here.
A superb specimen, truly.
We're going to be copying Fangs with Informants and just setting up lots of poisons.
Everyone has their secrets. Everyone.
So go for the lock here on the Brathens. I'm then going to play the Cupbearer to get the Assimilate value down on the board, as I've now got a decent, finally, poison target, which I should have already had on the other Dame, but I wasted a leader charge. So coup ready to go on the Brathens, the Payable special, as I've mentioned it's called. We can get the Usurper down before the board is full as well. And we're not going to click the Usurper, we're just going to clog our opponent's side of the board. And then when we're ready to play some other spies, we're going to click the Usurper, calling our operatives back, and then that allows us to place spies on our opponent's side of the board.
You simply must pay my estate a visit one day.
Okay, I'm just going to go for the Usurper here. We're not going to click, remember. I could poison the Dame, but I'm just going to kill a card, which I don't really want to do, so we're just going to throw a random poison somewhere. Invo on Usurper is absolutely fine for us. They have no room for it. It's not a concern at all. Here comes our coup. I suppose we could just leave the coup. Nah, we need space for the spy that Brathens plays too. Let's go for it.
True love could lift the curse, but who would love such a
Let's clog the front row. We're going to take a fangs, and again, we're going to float the poison. We're not going to finish anything off because we don't want to give them room. Joachim coming in next, I suppose. We could also go for the Invo and Usurper or whatever it might be. Bribery could roll us another Usurper. Vincent would be great in this situation. Another Invo. Dead. It's only a unit, right? So it can't be Invo or Dead Man's Tongue. And this is where Roderick would also be very important, right? I could go Roderick into Joachim here.
Enough! Let us finish this. Long live the Emperor.
Okay, they have one spot left on their board. Remember, if they play Usurper, they're not going to be able to resummon it, so it's just going to be points on our side of the board. I could put something on top with Blightmaker. That's an interesting idea, yeah. Could have put Vincent there, right? True. Good point. So yeah, I could have used Blightmaker to put Vincent on top. A little bit scared of Cantarella if I do that, but I mean, we've seen that Anna, so we can strongly assume that there's no location. Now, this has been far from ideal plays, like, absolutely not. That's why I need to play ball and practice with it. I was quite excited when ball got nerfed because I thought finally my lack of practice with ball wouldn't matter, but here it is being pretty relevant. So, bribery, most of the options that we're going to want are going to be putting cards on our opponent's side of the board. So we're just going to go for the Blightmaker first.
I bring death.
I'm a little bit concerned this has gone wrong. Don't kill a 1. Brilliant stuff, thank you. I'm a little bit concerned, but I think with last say we're going to be just fine here. At this moment, they've already played the Invoke. They've already played the Dead Man's Tongue. An Emissary is the card to have saved from our opponent. This is just a negative point play. They've just given us 4 points, everybody. That's a weird decision from our opponent. We find the Vincent, which is going to give them space, but it's a 15-point play. However, we just know that this is... I suppose the Blightmaker. We don't actually have any mages, right? So this is a 4-point play. This is a nice, chunky point play, but it does give them space to play a card. I think it's probably worth it at this point.
Stress release is necessary for one's health.
Puts us ahead. Does free up space and give them a chance to play a card here. But with Vincent gone, not too concerned really. Oh, this was dumb. So I just threw the game, right? Yeah, I mean, I just threw the game. I literally only had to just take the Blightmaker. God, I suck. Holy shit, this was so bad. This is just tragic, no? I don't think I can use that as a YouTube video. It was that bad. Never mind, I need to practice a ball. Let's go again. That's alright, I don't play Masquerade Ball. I need to practice Gummy Bears.
I shall make Nilfgaard great again.
Yeah, I mean, I just need to practice, guys. Sorry, going back, my bad. Losing sucks, mate, and when I know I played badly, it sucks even more. It was definitely a misplay. I should have just gone for the 4-point Blightmaker. Yeah, the Nilfgaard mirror is pretty dumb, but
Long live the Emperor! Long may he
I had the
reign!
lines to win it. Okay, so we're up against an Assimilate opponent, which means round control is going to be pretty important, I would say. We have a single poison. Dead Man's Tongue, remember, is going to show the order in line. GG. It wasn't. It was so bad, wasn't it, from both of us? But yeah, I played it even worse. But yeah, it's definitely the line in the mirror, right, to clog your opponent's side of the board. But I literally played it worse, mate. I was kind of triggered at how badly it went for me. Let's go for the lock. I think it's... I was recording a YouTube video. I think I'm just going to honestly continue on, mate, and just accept. Learn from my mistakes. It's a painful watch, but maybe I won't. I don't know. Okay, 2 Assimilate engines down. We've got the first one locked. We could go for a poison on the second. Don't hate it.
Feeling a bit peckish?
I imagine we lose a long round. Having said that, board space is surely going to be an issue for our opponent with all the spies I can play and things. If they play Masquerade Ball as well, though, that's where it begins to get quite dodgy.
All these signs can mean but one thing.
Okay, they've got 4 engines down on the board, everybody. Does seem to me like it could be a decent time to pass. I suppose we go for an 8-point Dead Man's Tongue for anything else, though. So this is the deck that the order our deck is in, which means the Mage Assassin, one of them is going to be very awkward. So we can actually just get rid of the other one, innit? I should have taken a screenshot, to be honest, but I didn't. I was really dumb. Any screenshotters in the chat?
This one's got spirit.
And as our opponent continues to play engines, a single Brathens is very much threatening to get ahead here. However, I think I can just be greedy and play.
I exist because Master Gehenna wills it so.
Okay, my dude, we could go for a leader charge. It's a big leader charge, but I think I'm just done here. I don't see them quite making 20 points in one turn. I guess 18. Seeing as they already have 2 points down. Brathens would probably do it, but I mean, at that point, Brathens is gone. I don't really think I care much. Oh yeah, one is locked as well. It's a good point. Oh my goodness, they've got another one. Well, this is certainly our time to pass, as they've got a lot of engines. Yeah, Angoulême could be a real problem for us. But the amount of points they can get here is quite redonkulous. Bribery. Into an informant. Bribery, informant. I think that's going to be enough with all the Assimilate. It's honestly kind of close still. Coup the Angoulême? True, yeah. And then they can coup the Angoulême. Brilliant. So I've got a Fangs, and then it's actually Masquerade Ball. Which, do I want the Masquerade Ball? I don't think I do. I know I've got it on the top of my deck here. Okay, so I can play the Purify, but obviously I may as well just take the poison here. Cupbearer.
Never snip from the master's table.
I go Cupbearer first because it makes their leader worse. If I were to go for leader here. And it also just gets an Assimilate engine down on the board. It's not intended it's a bug, but CDPR have acknowledged it's a bug, and therefore it's kind of fair game to use. Like it's out in the open, basically.
He's worth 20 florins.
So yep, instead of using the Cupbearer Purify, we just go for the double poison, of course. We could lock this, but it's going to go very tall. Play into our invoke. And we can save our leader charges for other things. Certainly would like to avoid our...
As you wish.
Wow. Certainly would like to avoid giving our opponent value off their leader onto Brathens, so I think I'm just going to take the Brathens here. Onto the Slave Hunter. I mean, Invo does get me ahead. Let's just do that. We could have gone for coup off of Rodders as well, but it's pretty high rolling. Guy's taking a lock. There's the canter.
No one can hide.
Will they slam the leader here? It makes sense to slam the leader here.
I am no Nilfgaardian.
They don't go for it. Very questionable decision making there, I would say. It's a hunter, or we also mulliganed the mulliganed informant, which obviously can't go on top. So the hunter's the top card off Joachim, which honestly is pretty good in this position.
Enough. Let us finish this.
Joachim's still a decent card. Obviously, Brathens is even better for them. Yo, Mr. Pool, what's up, man? I finally am using the green screen, mate. Big moment. What's up, man? Good to see you. Yeah, thanks, man. It's I do believe your suggestion was to get the Elgato one. I just hadn't used it in so bloody long. Okay, the Brathan's getting boosted means we can't do the iconic combo. The bad news for us here is we've given them flipping Brathans off leader,
My duty?
which is rather scary, I would say.
I wonder what my snares will have captured this time.
They decide not to go for it, which is very fortunate for us.
True love
They
could
might
lift
find
the
it off
curse, but who
bribery
would
still,
love
but it's
such a
certainly not guaranteed.
Everyone has their secrets. Everyone.
I don't feel the need here to use the leader charge and get ahead. I can offer the pass. Here comes the leader. Feel as though they should have played it a turn sooner. So bribery or Roderick. Bribery could be pretty disgusting here. Here we go. Big moment. What will the bribery pull? Guys, look at this. Can you tell that I'm close to the mic? It's a 9-point usurper, everybody. That's not a great find.
I'm but a simple loyal soldier.
We are 11 points down. Our seditious aristocrat here is going to be playing for 1. Is it spying? 1, 2, 6 point seditious aristocrat, guys. Does that sound weird? Well, I think about congregate deck. I think it's probably worse than a lot of the other decks you could play.
I'll do what I can.
Our opponent's slamming the cards here. Finding the Mage Torturer. Looks like a rope out because it could have maybe done some damage on Brathans. So we have the Rodders here. Let's go for the bribery in it. Okay, we can either go for the Glynis. I think we just go for the Theon in this position.
Onward, onward, to be showered with imperial gold. Essa moren arbeit square. Oh, moren.
Sounded like Snook commentary. Commentary.
Kill the dog diddlers!
Ouch.
Blood.
Quick maths. We know that we've got Ball on top. We have Rodders. Sorry, we have Fergus and Usurper as well. I'm not exactly sure if they're near the top or not. I actually think they're pretty low down. But we did thin a lot of the cards out. This is just what Dead Man's Tongue does for you. Just does this, mate. I probably should have ditched the coup. Yeah, I mean, this is just highlighting the power of the Blight Makers. The Dead Man's Tongue showing the order right now is particularly broken. But,
Don't ask a lady
yeah.
her age. It's unbecoming.
the thinning of Dead Man's Tongue and the Blight Makers just making this very good deck even better.
Out of the way!
I mean, Dane, I'm not going to only use this.
There is no shame in fear.
I'm not always going to use the green screen, for sure.
All I do feeling a bit peckish.
I should have ordered this the other way around, didn't it? But never mind. What am I wearing? A white hoodie from ASOS that cost like £5. I was cold. Hooray, we won, guys. Look at this fantastic MMR score we've achieved. Alright, game number 3. About downtime, true. Double Mage Assassin in hand. We're going to mulligan those. We have the Ball and the Usurp. We don't want these cards, mate. We want a playable hand. So we mulligan the Ball of Masquerade. Nature's Gift. Historically, a little bit of a tough matchup for the Masquerade Ballers. We do have Vincent, which helps a lot. We have a bit of a tough time killing the old Dunker here. However, there's a couple of things we could do. Number 1 is we could lead a charge coup. Number 2 is Invo. Number 3 is Vincent. Bye, Rashid. Much love, mate. Love you. As we don't have coup, I'm just going to Vincent it, mate.
All gentlemen have their vices.
Carryover is kind of scary. I don't want to deal with that. So, I suppose another thing that I should have mentioned in the deck guide at the start, guys, was playing one of each bronze, premium and non-premium, no?
It's time.
Because you deserved it. Okay, so playing against a non-devotion deck. It's DMT. DMT, KMT. But I'm making it a top. Do we want to thin our deck of bronzes to draw the golds? I mean, Rodder's right at the bottom. That's actually a good thing. I don't need him. Gonna get rid of the Nausicaa. I'm not sure it's the right play, but okay, I'm remodding Rashid. Isn't it funny how that, like, unmodding somebody never gets old?
Talk to strangers.
Yo, Bantonio. Yeah, you're probably right, actually. It's a good point, mate. Just ditch the informant for the extra point. I can see that. I like the logic. We're going to invo that. What's up, Antonio? Good to see you, mate.
Though trees live longer than humans, they need protection from you.
Oh, cabbage. I can still taste it.
It's just awkward, but this plays into Rebuke too much. This obviously plays into Heatwave. But there's only one Heatwave. Doesn't get ahead. 2.
I do what I
Daisy
must.
of the Valley!
Enough! Let us finish this.
I'm a rain gamer, guys. What can I say? I'm going to pass. I could go for the bleed on the hunter now, to be fair. Never really getting better value off this card at this point.
The Von Warlehams detest intruders.
Maths failed our opponent here.
Fine. You're not completely incompetent.
I need to charge my controller, actually. It's a good point. Working to charge after this game. So yeah, we definitely should have thinned this, as Bantonio mentioned. I didn't take a screenshot, so I ain't got a bloody clue. That's a throwback, BM. That's a throwback. That was the first time somebody complimented me for my skilling in Gwent. I was so gassed that I made it a command. It was like a year ago. I was like, damn, this guy's an idiot, he thinks I'm good.
Choke the embers. Wind, blow out the flame.
I bring death. Quite literally.
This is just another example of why you don't want to have the Masquerade Ball in your opening hand. We haven't seen Forest Protector, so not going to lock.
Never snip from the master's table. Never.
So we've seen a single Caress played and then Forest Protector replayed it, right? Yeah, so we've seen both cresses. I'm gonna go double leader hip because Naping Shape is in hand. Let's Fergus this in a minute. Okay, this is a misplay. This is a big misplay. So Ku here is going to play as a 7. 8-point play, which is enough, right? And then we just know if we have to play the Fergus or if usurp is going to be necessary to take it up a card. And again, I should know the order of my deck, but I didn't take a screenshot because I suck at the game. Okay, looks like we're going to have to play both cards. That's fine.
These I invade. These I sign a treaty with. Fourth Brigade, follow me!
We have all 2 aristocrats. We have Rathans. I remember Roderick was right near the bottom. Ku's got to go. It's terrible. I guess it's actually not bad now. We've got Brathans, but oh dear, what have I done here?
That's a nice ring to it.
This is very, very awkward, isn't it? Had a bit of a stinker. Hoggers.
Illusions. You've yet to see what they can
True love
accomplish.
could lift the curse, but who would love such a freak?
Everyone has their secrets. Everyone.
Looks like we're going to just about get away with it. Note how I'm playing around the making a bomb. Very intentional. Yeah, coming back to this decision not to banish the Duchess informant in round 1.
Spit it out already. I don't have all day.
Her Grace will not be pleased.
Well said, Deeps. That aged well, mate. Well, this is just awkward, isn't it? I'm just very bad.